board meeting to order. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, roll call, please.
Jeremy and Shannon are absent, all others are present.
Excellent. Proof of public notice.
The agenda has been posted on our district website, along with at both of our buildings, the shared with the public library and the Kiwanis Star.
Excellent. All right, I entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
So moved. Second.
All right, moved by Lonnie, seconded by Chris. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Motion carries. All right, I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented. And within that is approval of our board minutes from April 27th. The committee board minutes of the special board meeting on April 27th, charter school meeting on April 28th, and the charter school committee meeting on May 5th. The approval of bills in the amount of $549,894.23. The approval of personnel and the approval of donations. I'd entertain a motion. So moved.
Second.
All right, moved by Christie, seconded by Mike. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Motion carries. All right, next one is I'd like to approve, or say a thank you to the two donations that we've received. We got $500 donation from the Algoma FFA, from the Alaska Tractor Pull, and we also got some donation from the Bennis family for extra clothes for our caring closet, so thank you very much. All right. Yep.
No more garage sales.
Next item up is board recognition of Sean Smith, a high school sophomore, for his geocaching project. Sean, what can you tell us about your project?
Well, as I can say, since the last time I met, it has proven to be very successful in the regards that many people have already found it and logged. Usually around 20 to, if not 30 people have found each cache around contains.
Excellent. Do you have any way of knowing the age of the people? Probably not. That would be interesting. Because it really promotes the city of Algoma. It's all the historical landmarks. How many spots are there?
There are 9 on the app, but there are also around 8 more that are connected as well. So around a total of like 17.
How does it work? Can you walk me through how it works?
So it starts off with like you downloading an app. It's called geocaching if you look it up in the App Store. Once there, if you look in the town, there will be certain circles. You click on one, it'll give you the name. You click it again, and it'll give you the about location. To find it, you hit the navigate button, which is on the main screen, which will then give you a direct course to that cache with a radius to find it, usually ranging from 13 to 20 feet in diameter to find it. The items can vary in size, but for this specific one, it is mainly these smaller containers. However, I believe 3 of them are just a magnet like this. Once you find it, you are able to, well, for the geocaching app, you can log it, give a description, like who you are, why you're there, and just give like a general information. However, the full purpose of it was to share more of the history with Algoma, and to do that, and for me to do that, I created my own website called the Algoma Archive, which, if you scan the QR code listed inside each and every box or magnet that it's connected to, will take you directly to the website with the information on the site as well as all the other connected ones.
Could you email that to Mr. Brinkman so that he could share that with us?
Of course.
I think that would be kind of fun. Maybe a field trip.
What made you interested in geocaching, or how did you start?
So I started geocaching in scouting, actually. It was a merit badge, still is. And I just really enjoyed it because it was very fun. And then I was like, maybe there's some in Algoma, only to find that there were only 2, of which you would have to pay to find. And I didn't like that, so I thought I might as well change that. And since there was a class coming up where I had to do a project about making a change, I decided to do it for the city of Algoma by revolving it around the history of the place. Because the history is actually very extensive. And I decided to look into a deeper look.
That is awesome.
Yes, he came to city council and asked permission to put this on certain sites, we gave it to him, and I've been curious as to how it was gonna go. Cause I know some other, is Monticello as a place that has a bunch of these geocaching, and you can go and, as a tourist, visit them and learn about the city, so I think this is great potential for our city.
Mhm. I do have more information in each one of these folders. If I could give each of you, which contains all of the information.
Absolutely, that's what I'm
That'd be
looking
great.
forward to.
Yeah. I just wrote down the website you said, because I'm like, I want to check this out. Do you have to maintain it then, and you're doing any updates to it?
I can always go back into it and update. I can always expand on the project if necessary or if I desire to. However, it can be self-sustaining, as it doesn't really necessarily need any watch over.
And all of the sites are within walking distance in the city of Algoma.
Correct, they're all within the city limits.
Sean, how did this start? Want to talk about that?
It really started as I love doing projects like this, doing the Eagle Scout project first, working with the library. I just love working with the Algoma Council. So I really wanted to show not just tourism, but also the people here, what maybe they don't know about the town, because I found it interesting, and I just love talking about history very much. So I decided to take a look into all of these different businesses, locations, even murals, to see what history they may have. And to be honest, they do have very interesting descriptions and histories behind them.
And you don't live here, do you?
No, I do not.
Yeah, so I think that's even more interesting, is that this is just something, you go to school here, but you found that this was something, a way to kind of explore the community.
Yes.
Just wonderful.
And this was all part of a class, correct?
Correct.
Do you want to explain that?
This was for a class called Beta, started by Mrs. Pirolero. The whole point of it was, the point of the class is to make a change in your school, community, or just overall area. And they do have a very successful group, the Period Project, which works with just providing the school and the community with feminine products. I didn't see myself doing that style of project. I decided to go more historical route. So I chose that instead.
Has your mom found them all, or does she already know where they all are anyway?
She's been there every step of the way. She should know where they are.
How did you do your research on all the finding the history?
The research mainly was going through online sources, and first I would have to check their credibility before actually diving deeper. Some sites, however, were not easily accessible online, so I actually reached out to the community, and they gave me a name, Jan Dart,
Oh, yeah.
who provided me with a book containing pretty much most of the buildings here, about their history, even their structure, their architecture, and some building plans of them,
Oh, wow.
which actually helped a lot. I do have the name of it here somewhere. I don't know if I'll be able to find it that quickly. Probably not.
It's all right.
That's really cool.
I think it's very cool, and I think you should come back to the council and give us an update on how things are going, when it fits in your schedule. It doesn't have to be immediately, but, keep collecting all that data and bring it back and let us know.
The thing that I personally thought was interesting, one of the geocaches has that stamp, what's that stamp?
At the lighthouse?
Yeah, that,
Oh, a travel bug.
yeah, that.
A travel bug is a thing specifically for geocaching. Pretty much, it travels between cache to cache. So if you find it, you're allowed to take it. It's one of the only things you're allowed to take. If you find it, you're allowed to take it, log who you found, who you are, you found it, and then you can place it in any other cache. This specific one started off in West Virginia
Oh, wow.
and traveled to Texas, I believe Oklahoma, Michigan, and then ended up here.
That is very cool. That is,
And then the lefties are cool.
Yeah, the lefties are a specific group of cashers. They log themselves as the lefties. They have their own personal stamp that you can see if you look into personal caches. They're called the lefties because it's a group of 10 people who are all left-handed.
okay.
And they go around geocaching, just stamping, saying the lefties were here and saying their whole story. And it
Have
was-
they been here?
Yes, they have, and many sites.
Interesting. See, I think that would be adults and not kids.
Very cool.
You have taken me, both then.
Oh,
Reminding you of things.
oh, remind me. I think-
No problem.
To test it, yes, I did use two organizations. Firstly, my beta class, which consisted of mainly seniors and sophomores, and they went around looking, as well as Wolf Den, which taught the younger demographic ranging from 2nd grade to 5th grade, if I remember correctly, just so I could see if both high schoolers and elementary schoolers are able to find the cache, just in case, and if I had to make adjustments, I could. Thankfully, they found them, and I had no issue.
Wonderful. Now, would you ever get an alert if one is missing?
Mainly that's down to the people who log the caches, because there is a system where it's like if you cannot find it, you can log it. If enough get logged, it'll show up as saying, hey, you may want to check this cache, otherwise it may be missing or it may be gone. So it's a good safety check, and it's revolving around actually the people who want to find it instead of me just constantly monitoring.
Correct, yes. Great, any other questions for Sean? All right, if not, we get to present you with a certificate of appreciation and achievement for doing this for Beta Club and creating something positive for our community.
And you get a picture with the whole board, so
Yep.
you and Amy can come right up.
We go first and then we go there.
Wow.
You should. This is huge. All right, come on up here. Yeah.
We gotta get you in the middle, though, you're just the honor.
Thank you.
Yes, congratulations.
Nice job.
Yes, yes, thank you.
Did you create the app yourself?
The app is actually, it was started in 2001, and it is nationwide.
Okay.
Specific to. It's not specific to the area. I don't know how many are here. I'll just grab one.
So another place for information is if you go to the library, if you ever find older gentleman, Howard Nell. He knows just about everybody and anything in history for the city of Algoma. So if you ever need information, he's on like a microfiche, and it's all that stuff in the library. So
It's a really interesting project. We've learned a lot from different places that we've gone through. I don't know how many we have. We tracked a lot of places around the area.
Thank you very much. Does the place where you live have as many, or is there
In
a little bit
Luxembourg, we
more?
only have a few.
that's
My dad and mom used to, when they retired, they bought another business, started a business, but that's beside the point. They had a whole bunch of people that put them all over our land, so then we would use it. The traditional geocaching though is a compass, and who asked you to do that? Is that Mr. Denise?
Yeah, Mr. Denise suggested that if a person didn't have access to a phone, they could use a compass. However, the only downside is not many people know how to use a compass. So it would have to have a tutorial to explain how to use one.
Which you could do.
I could do, but I want to make it more difficult.
Excellent, thank you very much.
thank you.
Really cool.
I'm gonna do this.
So, and everything that he designed is his design. So like the Algoma sticker, that's his design. The pictures that he takes, those are all his.
On the website, each building has its own picture, those were all taken by me, except for the title piece, which is the moon one, that was not taken by me, but there is credit to whoever took that. I believe the chamber actually took it,
Okay,
so, whoever credit is due.
you did a lot of work on this. I appreciate it, thank you very much.
Good job.
So what's the next project?
What's the- Your suggestions?
All right, now we will move on to the student representative report, but the last one by our student council president, Kara Krieger.
Okay. I feel like personally, the most important one is graduation, because I will be graduating, guys. That's May 22nd at 6 p.m. Also, all of the graduating class, last Thursday had their award ceremony. So they all received a bunch of certificates and cords. So if you see any graduating seniors, go ahead and congratulate them on either anything they earned or their graduation. Also, last Saturday was the Rise of Phoenix graduation. So there was about, I think, 8 of us who walked across the stage with the rest of GD graduates. So that was really cool. ABA has their showcase on Wednesday from 4 to 6 p.m. So I believe that is just, they set up a bunch of like tables and they'll talk you through like the projects and everything that they've been working on all year. So that's really cool to see and like to learn what they actually do in there. But there's a basketball assembly June 1st. I don't know much about this, but I do know it's at 1 p.m. And then I think there's 3 rounds. And the first one is the juniors versus the coaches, which, that's interesting. And then the sophomores and the freshmen versus the sheriffs and the fire department.
Oh.
Yeah, that's a choice.
Are you playing? Are you fire department?
No. I have to work, they're doing it during work hours, so.
And then there's like a big championship at the end of that. Some middle schoolers, I believe, are doing, I don't know exactly what they're doing, but they're wanting to like do a project involving improving like the youth club or like events there or something regarding the youth club. And I know they recently sent out a survey to like the school, like the students of the school, asking some questions about like what they want to see at the youth club. So I thought that was really cool. If you see John Young, I don't know if Greg Keegan, but he was recognized this month by the art teacher as Artist of the Month. Yeah, that's kind of it. And then I do have sports. Yay! Yeah, that's, yeah. Track today had a varsity conference. I believe it's a championship, and that was at O'Connell. And then they have another conference meet at Gibraltar on Thursday. I might be wrong, but I do believe softball was supposed to have a game today, but it was canceled. But they do have a varsity game in Denmark, I think, maybe, against Denmark. I don't know, guys, all I have is Denmark. At 6 o'clock on Thursday. And then baseball has a varsity doubleheader against Southern Door on Thursday at 4:30. And that's all I have for you guys for my last one.
And remind us again, where are you going to college?
Madison,
For what?
psychology. I want to be a behavioral therapist.
Well, good luck,
Thank you.
but we'll see you next Friday.
Do you have a replacement coming to these meetings next year?
I don't know. That might be a Nelson question, but last I talked to Nelson, I think he was looking at Dakota Durst. So, and he's a really good kid, and he's very smart.
And then we expect to see Sean here
Oh, yeah, of course.
in 2 years. All right, any questions?
Yeah.
All right, Scott, it's your last one. Good luck, have fun.
We'll see you Friday.
Yes.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
guys.
Everybody vote.
We'll go slow.
Sean, I do have a little question for you.
Of course.
Is there any way when they log in that, is Is there anything that says where they're from?
They would have to manually put in where they're from to do
That'd be
that.
really cool to add to that, like
They,
California or
Yes,
wherever.
yes.
they usually do, and if you check their profile, it usually has their information as well as how many fines they have, ranging from a person found 1 to a person who found 1,000 or 10,000.
So like on my end, I'm not connected to his, but I can go find it, and on mine, it shows, like, this is what it'll show you guys, if you want this. But there's little hearts, and those little hearts mean people loved that spot, and they thought it was the best spot. So you should check it out, it's kind of like it's supposed to tell me to go there. So it's kind of cool. Everybody likes the lighthouse one where it's hid, but I can't tell you where.
Yeah, no. Although it's closed now for construction.
You'll still be able to get there.
You'll still.
Still can get there. And you can buy like packages to do it, but the problem is the packages are monthly, anywhere from, I don't know, like $25 a month up to like $50 a month, just because it unleashes more different places around and what you can do with it.
It's for the more experienced ones. The difficulty ranges from 0 to 5. 0 meaning pretty much anyone can access it, and 5 meaning you will probably need equipment to reach it. Usually the ones that you can view without paying a thing are ranging from 0 to 2, and from 2 upward you have to pay for a premium, like she mentioned.
Gotcha.
Oh, tell them the problem.
Thank you.
Which,
The big problem with this company that we didn't know about.
oh, the big one. The biggest problem that I figured out when I was in the final processes of actually placing them is they cannot be placed within 0.1 miles of each other. They have a set diameter, which means they cannot be in that radius because it is too close and it would contradict something. I did have a workaround though, because even if ones were too close, I just include the description of where the next one's hidden. So I can get around that roadblock, thankfully. The school property was another issue. The app, it wasn't a problem getting approval.
Okay.
The school would absolutely approve. The problem is the app won't approve. Reason being, it is a school, therefore they do not want random people walking on a school property.
Got it. Yeah, that does make sense.
Makes sense.
That's good safety.
So we tried to do the elementary, right? We tried it many times. We went up and down the block, like literally I watched him. Okay, take a picture here. And he logs it in, and then an hour later, still too close. I'm like, so we kept walking, and he was down like blocks away, and it still kept saying too close, until they wrote him back saying, you cannot be on school property.
I eventually got a location that did work, and the school was still visible, thankfully. I didn't have to walk, it's not like 5 blocks away from the school. It's still in the area. You
Gotcha.
can still see it quite clearly.
All right.
Thank you.
very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too?
Moving on to the.
Have a good night, everybody.
Yes,
Bye.
you too. The board correspondent report by me. So there was a big proposal for the 1.8 billion surplus deal, and the Wisconsin Senate rejected it. 600 million would have gone towards the schools, and of that, 300 million would go to the general school aid, and the other half towards special education reimbursement for districts, increasing the reimbursement rate to about 50%. For decades, that reimbursement has fallen short of what the law promises. Districts make up that difference every year by pulling money out of their general education budget, money that would otherwise go to classroom staff and programs for every student in the district. The deal provided more than $850 million in tax refunds. It also would have provided $350 million for property tax relief, including the $300 million in school aid and another $50 million for the Wisconsin Technical College system. It would have eliminated the individual income on tax on cash tips and overtime pay. The $300 million in general school aid would have been distributed at roughly about $387 per pupil statewide. On the surface, this sounds significant, but due to how Wisconsin's revenue limits work, our district would not have seen a single new dollar to spend inside our schools. Here is why. When the state sends us more aid, we are legally required to reduce our local property tax levy by that same amount. It's a dollar for dollar trade. The budget stays flat. As homeowners, we might have seen a moderate reduction on our property tax bill, and that matters. But it shouldn't be confused with the new investment in our students. We could not have hired additional staff, expanded programs, or kept pace with rising costs. Nothing would have changed inside our buildings. The aid formula itself is a problem. It uses a multi-year enrollment average that looks backward, and for districts where enrollment has been declining, that formula overstates the actual student count. The result is that the effective aid per student would have been less than the $387 figure. The bill was not a cure-all. Despite offering levels of special education reimbursement not seen in decades, it would not have resolved the structural funding challenges that continue to push school districts toward referenda, program cuts, and difficult choices. But it would have been a good first step. Hopefully the governor and the legislature will return to the table and find a path forward for our students in our community that supports them. Any questions? All right. Next up is the board CISA 7 report by the treasurer, Chrissy Algoma.
So we had 2 meetings last week, the delegate convention where all of the members, 1 delegate from each school district in the CISA is invited. That one, it was the kind of the reorganization, re-election meeting. There were 4 seats open: Algoma, Gibraltar, Howard, Swamico, and Valders. Howard Swamico chose not to re-nominate themselves, but Luxembourg Casco did nominate themselves. So the 4 spots that are open for the 4 spots that took the next 3-year term are Algoma, Gibraltar, Valders, and LC. Part of that delegate convention is all of the directors speaking about their program within CISA. So they shared the annual report and a bunch of interesting things about the different parts of CISA. So I will send that in a link to all of you guys. Then once that meeting ended, we started the regular monthly meeting, and the big ticket items on there. They had the CISA handbook approved. Their HR manager has been really good at getting things consistent, writing things up, updating policies, job descriptions, all those types of things. So that was a good read. And then we approved the NUIA salary scale. So that is the youth apprentice program that you guys are hearing about from me like every meeting, and it's crazy growth. It is funded by grants. So this is a good way to ensure that they can still help promote those coaches within the schools and keep within their budgets, and then their people also know what their increases will be after they get so many years of service. It's not based on cost of living adjustments or anything, it's just strictly based on years of service. And then, I don't know if you guys are familiar, Erica Janish is ours here in Kewaunee County, but they have about, oh man, I thought it was north of 25 NUIA leaders around the CISA. So that's it.
Any questions? Okay, moving on. Next part, oops, sorry, is president's report. I just screwed that up. Now I don't know where my agenda. Here we go. All right. I was just gonna mention the same things that have already been spoken about. The ABA showcase is on Wednesday, May 20th from 4 to 6 p.m. Come and see what our kids do. It's very, very enlightening. Some of them do some rock star things. I would say most of them do. And it's good to ask them about which standards they're working on and how that is impacting their education. And then graduation is 6 p.m. on Friday, May 22nd. I was looking for the email from Aaron Balone about the day of service, June 1. Could you speak a little bit about that, Mr. Green?
Yes, so in the morning on June 1st, Monday, the high school and I believe middle school might be participating as well. All of our students in this building will be going out to do a day of service, partnering with many local organizations throughout the community. There's a sign up for staff right now that's going around to supervise the students. And then students will sign up for a project that they want to work on. I know they range from cleaning the beach to helping with the mural, I think is one of them. Trying to think what else. So, a wide range of things. So, yeah, it's gonna be our first time trying this, and hope to continue to make it an annual thing.
And it starts at 8:30 and it ends at 1, so it'll be back in time for the basketball game?
Yes, I believe so, yes.
That was the first I heard of that, that's kind of cool.
Board members, you're welcome to join us too if you'd like to.
Oh, I wanna back up. Our May 6th teacher appreciation was a lot of teachers came and said thank you, so thanks to the board for doing that, continuing that again. I got some ideas on different things that we can do next year. One of the things that we did this year was that we sponsored, meaning I sponsored the free coffee. So we had the whole brew give free coffee to the staff. So I think I'd like to continue that next year. So that's something we can talk about in the future about what we can do to appreciate our staff during Teacher Appreciation Week.
I feel like AES does a really good job at spoiling them every day. It's just up here that
Yeah,
people
up
are
here it does,
feeling
yeah.
a little bit less loved.
Yes.
So,
What we can do to share the love, we should do, because everyone's important. All right, moving on to public comment. Do we have anyone that signed in for public comment?
do not.
All right, moving on to administration reports, superintendent and business manager report.
All right.
Monthly
Over
finances.
here, there we go. All right, our key takeaways for tonight, Amber will do a monthly update on the finances. I will jump into a summary of my senior interviews that I have been doing. Also share out our staff culture and climate survey results, and then follow it up with the preliminary open enrollment applications for next school year. I'll let Amber lead things off.
So we just finished up the month of April, so we're 10 months into our fiscal year. We're doing good on our targets. In Fund 10, we did receive a literacy curriculum grant. It was a little bit over $20,000. We believe this is our payment for the CKLA curriculum, but we have to verify that. There's been some confusion because the payment came in April, and then we got emails from the state saying we need to apply for this in May. So we need to verify what happened there.
And it was for 20,000?
Yeah, like 26, I think.
Yeah,
I'd have to- It's 50% of the curriculum cost for grades.
K through 3 only.
How come?
So that's all that was required by Act
Act
20.
20.
Oh, that's all that was
Yeah.
covered,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I did mention it to Mr. Kitchens when I went to one of his, he said he was working on it
Yeah.
for us, so I'm thinking that it.
Yeah, so the third edition was now approved. If you remember last year, it
Yes.
was not on the list, so we didn't qualify. Katie had
Yeah.
actually submitted the reimbursement request. We were denied because it was third edition, not second. And then we got this payment. And then we got the notice that, hey, third edition's been approved, you can apply for it. So
Wonderful.
we're
It's a little
thinking.
A little backwards.
Yeah.
Doesn't
We'll
matter,
take
I
it.
thank you, Joel Kitchens, for working on it.
Yes, definitely. So we received our lottery credit payment from the county. The lottery credit comes from all those lottery tickets that people buy throughout the state, and then that helps to reduce people's property taxes. So basically, the lottery credit is paying part of your property tax bill. Our spring college classes and books were paid out. Just a little note on the college classes. Last year, we had a budget of about $35,000 in that line item. We upped it to $100,000 this year because there was so many kiddos taking courses. That $100,000 has been exceeded. So that's going to be part of the budget amendment. It is great news. It is fantastic that our kids are taking these college courses. It is state law that we do have to pay for the first 18 credits, and then after that, the kiddos have to cover it. They do get a reduced rate if they take it now in high school than if they just took it in college after they graduate. So it does help them as well. It's just one of those unfunded mandates from the state. We get 25% for college credit if it's a dual credit. So if they get both high school and college course credits for it, the state will reimburse us 25%, but only the UWGB courses. They will not reimburse anything for NWTC classes. So that doesn't help us very much there.
Is there anything attached to that, you know, saying that if they don't do well at that class
Yep.
or they don't?
They have to pass it. So if the kiddo does not pass, they are responsible for 100% of the cost.
Okay.
And everybody has a form, Courtney Schmidt, our guidance counselor, has them fill out or sign a form saying they understand that they have to pass the course and they're responsible for everything over 18, et cetera. So, for the kids that did have more than 18 credits, their portion of the college courses has been posted to their Power School accounts. So parents can log into Power School and see what their kids owe. That does have to be paid in full before seniors can graduate. So, student Chromebooks have been purchased. This is an ongoing annual thing. Jesse kind of rotates through and buys so many each year just to keep the cost more level. And in Fund 27, we got our first IDA flow-through grant reimbursement. If you remember, this year has been delayed because of all those changes with the WUFAR coding. And then we did get our aid transit from CISA 8. We have some more aid transit coming from CISA 7 yet, and one more payment from CISA 8 that should be coming in. The good news is, with the reimbursement rates at, now it's looking about 38%. It was 35, it's come back up to 38. We'll get a little bit more money in our aid transit from the CISAs than we had originally budgeted, so that will help. And then Fund 50, we got some aid payments there. Again, Fund 50 is kind of trailing behind. Revenues are not quite meeting the expenses, but we're keeping an eye on that. And then into our other funds, not a whole lot going on here. Fund 39 is done for the year, so no expense activity in April. Same thing with Fund 46. And Fund 49 is our next slide for the details. We started the month with just over $3 million. We still have just over $3 million remaining. We spent $39,000, gained $2,000 in interest earnings, and paid those vendors you see on the screen there. Does anyone have any questions on finance? Okay. You're welcome.
So, senior interviews, as you've seen in my weekly updates, ongoing for the last month. As of today, I had 55 senior interviews, so I'm trying to meet with every one of them. I think I'm going to meet everyone because there's a couple kids that don't have classes now, but this semester. But 55 is a pretty good amount, I think. So, questions I've been asking them is to, one, just tell me about themselves. Ask, how would your friends describe you? It's interesting to hear that. I've asked what sports or extracurricular activities have you participated in, what their plans are for after high school, favorite memory as an Algoma student, what their biggest challenges that they faced as a student, and feedback on what's going well in our district and what changes would they like to see being made. So, nearly 95% of our students have participated in some type of sport or extracurricular activity of our seniors. I think that is just amazing. Amazing when you think of the participation of that. So that's testament to all of our coaches and our volunteers and our staff that pour in so much time and effort into things that are outside of the school day. Plans for after high school. 28 of our graduates are going to be attending four-year college or university. 11 are attending technical school. One is going to be going to a trade school. 2 graduates are going into the military. 8 graduates are going into the workforce. 3 graduates are undecided. Actually, I think it's 4 because I think I missed one of them. I met with this afternoon, so. Favorite memory in Algoma students? Many of our students highlight the trip out west for Leadership Through High Adventure as their favorite. Band trips have come up. Their Camp U trip in 6th grade is a highlight. And then a lot of them have said just athletic achievements, making it conference champs, going on to compete beyond that. So, biggest challenge as a student, I'm hearing a lot about procrastination. That's pretty common theme. And I always turn that around and I said, well, what did you learn from that? And they said, better time management. I said, there you go. That's something you can carry with you into the future. So, phone usage has come up quite a bit with our seniors. Most of them have been in favor of the policy that was passed last month with phones. They said it's become a very strong problem at our freshman and sophomore years. They see it. And once they get to their junior, senior year, they kind of realize that, hey, I gotta focus more on my academics and not have my phones out. And then, what's going well in our district, the dual credit courses, that comes up all the time. The opportunities that provides them. The YA program, which has been a focus of ours for the last year, trying to grow that and double our numbers, which we have done. And then providing multiple pathways for our students. So whether it's through the Anapy Diesel program, or automotive program, it's through YA, through Pathfinder, through ABA, through Rising Phoenix. Each student is able to find something that matches what they are interested in. And the last thing would be the staff here. Many of our students have said that staff really truly care about our students and have made strong connections with them. So, some changes that they would like to make. I've stumped many of our students on this one. It doesn't seem like they can always come up with an answer, but the ones that have come up would be angled parking. Parking lot. We want to get rid of it because they don't know how to angle park. I would ask, well, why? And they're like, it's just too hard to back up. And I'm like, well, we need to go back to driver's education. And then the other interesting piece was a weighted GPA. So taking into account for our college level courses and trying to apply like a 5.0 GPA rather than a 4.0. So that's something I'll be talking to Courtney about. So, questions about senior interviews? That's part of this time of year for me, is being able to meet with all the kids. It takes anywhere from 10 minutes to sometimes a half hour. I've had kids open up to me, talking about their family, their home life. You know, it's a great way to connect with the kids, but also to celebrate the success and the accomplishments that they have reached. So
It'd be really cool to meet with them on the first week of school as a freshman.
Out of that,
Ask them maybe some basic questions like, where do you see yourself, blah, blah, blah. And then ask the same questions again as a senior.
Yeah,
it's a really good idea.
it's fun.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, we'll jump into our staff culture and climate survey result. All staff were emailed an annual, I can call it annual now because it's the second year we've done it, culture and climate survey in January. Same questions were used this year as we used last year, so we can compare the results. We had 31 responses this year compared to 66 from last year, so less than half. That's something we as a district and administrative team looked at and would like to see how can we get that number up higher to get a better representation. So for next year we have some ideas on that. Areas of focus within the survey was, again, just demographic information, kind of where they're teaching, how many years they've been teaching in the district, things like that. We asked questions about the work environment, communication, professional development, work-life balance, and then some additional feedback, which are open-ended questions. So some summary results of this. So demographic information, the building that they primarily work at, pretty split between the elementary school, middle school, and high school. And then a portion is considered district-wide, meaning they travel between both of the buildings. Years of experience, you can see the breakdown for that, 0 to 3 years, 4 to 10 years, and more than 10 years. Our role in the district, primarily teachers responded. Small group was paraprofessionals, clericals, facilities, and then our administrators. Work environment, so we asked about overall culture and climate in the whole entire district. 9.7 said excellent, 67.7 were good, about 20% fair, and then about 3% said poor. Our overall culture and climate within their building that they work in primarily, It's a little bit higher at 29% excellent, 35.5 at good, 22.6 fair, and then 12.9 as poor. Work environment continuing, we asked about support from their administrator and supervisor. Over half said that they feel very supported. 32% said somewhat supported. About 13% said somewhat unsupported, and 3% said very unsupported. And then level of collaboration among the staff in their building, 12.9 at very high, 35% high, 39% moderate, 10% low, and 3% very low. Getting to the communication, looking at how well the district is communicating out, we asked about 23% said very effective, 61% said effective, about 16% said ineffective, and 0% said very ineffective. And then comfort level to share ideas and concerns with their supervisor or administrator. 42% said always that they feel comfortable, another 42% said often that they feel comfortable, about 16% said rarely feel comfortable, and 0% said never. Last one for communication, how do they feel communicating with their colleagues about ideas and concerns? 32% said always, 64% said often, 3% rarely, 0% never. Professional development throughout the year, so we asked for their level of satisfaction on that, and 12.9% said very satisfied, 58% satisfied, 20% unsatisfied, and about 10% very unsatisfied. This is something we have looked at as we're doing our strategic planning and how we can incorporate some of this to improve the professional development. So.
And this is the PD days, right? Not them going back for degrees or anything?
Correct, yep. Built into the calendar or after schools sometimes. Skip that, that was just a copy, sorry. Work-life balance. This is an interesting one for me because it really depends on the individual, I think. Depends on the time of the year. But rating their work-life balance, 32% said excellent, 38% said good, and about 20% said fair, about 10% said poor. I think if I were to answer this question, it would have to really depend on what the week looked like for me, and so. But still good information to collect, I think, first from our staff. All right, any questions about culture and climate survey? I'll send you all a document, I'll share it after the meeting that has more detailed information. More information on those open-ended questions. I didn't want to get too much into that tonight, but you'll be able to do that.
Where does it sit kind of roughly from last year's?
Good question.
Obviously,
that document that I'll share shows last year's results as well compared to this year, so you can make a comparison.
And then, are you able to give necessarily different results than Dave so they can see if that work-life balance or that talking to my supervisor might be?
Yep, and we went through that at an administrative meeting, went through the results, and each administrator had their results broken out specifically for their building. We'll use this information again for our strategic planning. We've been talking to Kathy and Michael about it already. We've actually developed some goals off of this information that we received.
Oh, good.
We'll be using those to measure more progress throughout the next 5 years.
And I know we got 33 responses versus 66 last year.
31 versus 66.
31. How many did it go out to? Or what is your staff-ish?
I would say it's just over 100 probably.
And do you do it at a staff meeting, or do you just email it out?
We just emailed it out the last 2 years, and that's something that I think we're gonna change and actually go to a staff meeting, give them time to fill it out, so.
With donuts and coffee.
Other questions yet?
I'm glad you're doing it. I think it's important.
All right, open enrollment window, so that closed end of April. Remember, it runs February to end of April. We're looking at kids to open enroll into the district as well as open enrolling out. We had 5 applications for open enrollment into the district. They're coming from districts of Kiwanee, Luxembourg, Casco, and Two Rivers School District. We had 17 applications for open enrollment out of the district, but I wanted to stress that only 4 of the applicants are currently attending the school district. What I find a lot of times is families that are already open enrolled out will fill out the application year after year after year, even though they're grandfathered in. So I really only consider 4 of these applications to be students that would be currently attending that we may not have next year.
And that's my question about the 5, that's above everyone else who's already here.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep, absolutely. I will preference that though, the 5, it's probably likely gonna be 4, because one of them, the student filled it out themselves. And we had to notify DPI to delete it, so, student, pretty smart about that student. So, yeah. So open enrolling out would include Appleton School District, because they have a virtual school. Kiwanee, Luxembourg, Casco, McFarland is another virtual school. Merrill is another virtual school. Nice to notice they spelled Merrill wrong.
And I was gonna say, well, that's cool.
Yeah. Southern Door and Sturgeon Bay School Districts as well. Again, factors for open enrolling out include siblings already attending that school district, virtual learning options, and then parent employment. The board will need to approve the applications tonight. It's an action item. And then I notify families in the mail this week with letters of acceptance for tonight. And then the last thing about open enrollment, so our alternative open enrollment window is open from July 1st through middle of September. So there's another window for families to apply for either enrolling in or out. A reminder that we are closed to open enrollment for students receiving special education services, and they're going into grades 5th and 6th grade. And the board voted that in January, along with any regular education students in 5th grade because of our numbers. Any questions for me?
Nope.
That's all I have.
Next up is the administrative report from Mrs. Serby.
All right. I have 2 major topics to talk about tonight. The first one being our annual end of year achievement gap reduction program review. And then also I just wanted to sum up the school year as far as the new reading curriculum goes, and then kind of give you a glimpse into what we are planning for next year in regards to keeping that momentum going. So first of all, AGR, reading. I provided each of you with the data sheet that I typically put together throughout the school year just to keep track of everything. Up on the slides, I condensed that information just to make it a little bit more readable. So our reading goal, to sum all of that up, is by the end of the school year, less than 25% of students will require a personal reading plan. So if you remember, in order to require a reading plan, a student needs to score in the less than 25th percentile on the oral reading fluency of the Ames Web Literacy Screener. In kindergarten, at the end of the year, we have 9 students with reading plans. In first grade, we have 12 students. Second grade, we have 12 students with reading plans. Third grade, we have 11 students with reading plans, with a total K3 of 44 students, which brings our K3 total to 30%. A few things to point out. First of all, there are those asterisks right after the third grade line for 2 reasons. Number one, that grade level also relies on a student's performance on the forward exam, so we have not gotten those results yet. So we have a handful of students that have the potential to be dismissed from their reading plans depending on how they do on the forward exam. So that is the first reason. The second reason that I wanted to call attention to that grade level is because we have seen the most success with that grade level. If you take a look on the sheet, you can see that in the beginning of the school year, we had 35% of the students with the reading plan. Mid-year even, we had 36. And then at the end of the year, we had quite a few students drop off of that. Again, heavily relying on how they do on the forward exam, so it's a little too soon to tell, but that was one of our biggest successes. And then the other thing I'll note, not indicated on here, but one of the things that the Ames Web Screener provides us with is like a growth rate. And our third grade students made more growth than about 75% of other third grade students nationwide. So I think that's really telling. We still missed the mark. However, if we're seeing that level of growth this early on, I'm really excited for the continued growth that we will see year after year after year. And then for some comparison, I just pulled, and it's not up here, but last year, at the end of the school year, we had 34% of all of our students K through 3 who had a reading plan. So we did decrease by about 4% this school year.
When do we get the forward results?
That will be the end of May. We will get those. Yeah, so not exactly the most timely, but makes it a little hard because we also have to provide a summer reading program for any students in third grade who still have reading plans. So we're just kind of at a standstill a little bit until we get that information.
Do we do that for any other grades to try to get them on track or keep them?
I don't know what we're gonna do yet for this year. We want to see how many students fall into this category first. We have talked about just opening it up all the way from K through 3. We're not required to do that, but I think maybe not this summer, but in future summers, we would like to do something a little bit more for anybody.
Keep them on
Yeah.
pace or,
Yep. Yep. So that is reading, and then if you want to flip to math. Oh, yeah. We're working on it.
The reduction is nice.
Yeah, yes.
It doesn't seem like a lot, but it really is, and the new curriculum change has probably been a bit of a struggle for the kiddos, so
Yeah,
wonderful
for sure,
work.
for sure.
Congratulations.
Thank you. In math, so we use that same 25th percentile marker. So we made the goal that less than 25% of students will fall below the 25th percentile on the early math and A math assessment. So in kindergarten students, there were 13 students that did not meet that benchmark. In first grade, there were 9. In second grade, 12. Third grade, 8 students. And then total K3, we have 42 students, which would be 29% of our students falling below the 25th percentile. Again, I put those asterisks next to third grade because they saw some significant growth. Beginning of the year, they had 30% of their students that were below the 25th percentile. And now they have 20%. So that was a huge celebration just across the board for third grade in general. So again, we fell short of that goal, but I think all of this reinforces the need for us to, for math specifically, kind of take a step back to take a step forward and kind of duplicate some of the same process that we had done with reading. And providing all of those supports and resources to teachers so they can help their students too. So, any questions on that?
Did we do CKLA for 4K as well?
We did, yes.
Do we have any info?
Yes.
on them?
Yeah. I can. I actually just had that up. If you give me 1 second, I didn't put that on here because it wasn't required. However.
I'm just thinking with the big investment and the
Yep.
more data, so are there any wins if we have some?
Those kids get to third grade, I think these numbers are gonna look a lot different.
I think so
Yeah.
too. I do too.
Yeah.
That's why it's gonna
That will be the
fun.
really cool thing to see, I think. All right, so in 4K, let's see. In the one area that we track the most, we have 2 students that fall below the 25th percentile. So it's always kind of a hard indicator in 4K, only because they're doing like letter naming fluency compared to oral reading fluency, which is more complex, but this is good data too, so, yeah. Mhm.
Can you talk about
Yes.
changing the screener for next year?
Yes, so for literacy, for reading specifically, we have been required to use Ames Web. We are going to extend that through all grade levels for next year. So we're going to use Ames Web for reading and for math for 4K through 6th grade. That will help us be able to compare. It won't be so apples to oranges right now because we're using different screeners for different things, and it pulls in different ways, and the reports are different. So we are going to purchase, instead of purchasing FastBridge, we are going to purchase Ames Web just across the board for some consistency. So that'll be good too. Okay, the new curriculum. So I just wanted to point out some highlights. So we had full implementation for K through 6th grade, and in parentheses I put and 7th and 8th grade. We spent a lot of time really pushing for fidelity of the basics, and really looking for those components to be consistent and kind of including all parts. And that has been really successful, and I think that's a huge highlight. I think the teachers are feeling comfortable with it. They're feeling more confident in their ability to utilize it. The kids have fallen into the routines of the curriculum, and it's just been a positive from an implementation standpoint alone. It's been good. The second highlight would be just the level of training, coaching, and collaboration that we kind of wrapped around all of the teachers. So we had training from the CKLA rep. We had lots of training and coaching from Charlotte Meyer from CISA 7 throughout the year. Our reading teams, so our interventionists, Danielle Schultz and Shauna Anders, they were in classrooms constantly. They provided more of that one-on-one immediate coaching and feedback to teachers. And then grade levels really just kind of amped up their level of collaboration amongst themselves, so that they were on the same page and doing the same thing and talking about the same things that their students were succeeding with, struggling with, anything in between. And then student growth. So we saw a ton of growth with their oral reading fluency scores on the Ames Web. Vocab was a huge one. That's something that is hit really hard in the curriculum across all grade levels. So we saw just... and what we use to gauge that is we have the teachers tracking how the students are doing in their end of unit assessments, and there's always a vocab component that they're assessed on, and the students have done amazing on that. Oral language, so that's the speaking portion of it, and then the writing, which you've heard from the teachers themselves and seen examples of how students' writing has just tremendously improved, for sure. And then looking ahead, the final slide, we are still going to be hitting hard and looking for the full implementation, the fidelity when we're going into classrooms, so we're not just throwing that by the wayside, but we also have a couple of focus areas that we've identified that we really want to dig into a little bit closer, those being spelling, because that's done a little bit differently at different grade levels, and the philosophy is a little bit different. So we've been working with the CKLA rep to kind of help educate us so that we can understand it, to better implement it. Independent reading was something that across the board we want to take a look at. How do we track that? What do we want to require? Do we not require it? We just want some consistency in that sense. Same for homework, like how much homework, what makes sense to do at home versus extra practice at school. And then I mentioned briefly that each teacher is tracking how their students do on each of the end of unit assessments, down to the component, vocab, comprehension, even the phonics skills that are assessed. So we really want to use that a little bit more to plan for instruction too. So we're going to keep with full implementation and fidelity and just kind of drill in a little bit closer to some of those other areas. As far as training, coaching, and collaboration, we are going to continue with kind of that multifaceted approach with training. We already have some days picked out with Charla from CISA 7 for next year. So that'll be great. Student engagement. So this is something that we've talked about now that teachers kind of have their senses about them in terms of like navigating the curriculum. Now we want to make sure that we're keeping students engaged too, because it is a different style of instruction that we're used to, less small group, more whole group. And with that, it's just really important to make sure that it stays engaging and it doesn't get too long. Intervention, so we want to kind of amp up what we're doing for interventions. We've got a really good solid plan already and process that we use, but we just want to grow it even better. And then the last bullet point I put on here was just making sure we're aligning with the strategic planning priorities that we've been starting to talk about as a group. So that's kind of where we're going with that. So, any questions? Yeah.
You mentioned highlights. What are you hearing as maybe downfalls or the negative side? I know besides the big change, are there any concerns that you're bringing up?
I wouldn't say negative. I would say a challenge, especially in the younger grades. And the reason for wanting to focus on student engagement is that it can be like a long chunk of time that the students are doing these activities and they get a little antsy. So just thinking of how we can meet their activity level needs while also making sure that we're staying with fidelity to the curriculum. So that's been a challenge, especially in our younger grades, it's a lot, and it's a lot of time. And then little things like spelling trees, that's kind of a challenge, and like where to like display all of the things that they want us to display. I would say those are some of the biggest ones.
Is everyone like on pace, like they give you 1 year worth of curriculum? Are we looking like, okay, May to May, we are aligned where we're supposed to be?
Yeah, for the most part. I'd say 5th grade probably struggled with that the most this year, just because they're kind of like at the end, they are at the end of the CLA curriculum, so the gap is the most evident there with what the students should be doing and what they are doing, and it's just, especially in the beginning of the school year, took a little bit more time, where a lesson that was supposed to take 1 day took 2 days because they had to kind of backtrack to teach them before they were ready to fully do the activity. So that would be the biggest one. Otherwise, the teachers have mapped it out. We had them put that together at the beginning of the year so that they could give themselves extra time too for things that they needed.
And you are addressing that for next year by adding more minutes for literacy, correct?
Yes, in 5th grade, yeah. They'll be essentially, right now they have a 48-minute period. They'll have 90 minutes next year for literacy, so problem solved.
So this year we implemented, I think it started with 3rd grade, where you have to meet the metrics or you are in jeopardy of moving to 4th grade, is that correct?
Yes, but I think we just needed to adopt a policy addressing that we would be talking about it, so.
I just wondered
Yeah.
if our 28% of students in that grade then are in jeopardy.
Yeah. And one thing we've talked about is, like, Act 20 has been really great about laying out that process through 3rd grade, but then it's like you have these students, and you're not just gonna, like, you know, throw away their reading plan and just like wipe your hands clean, like, all right, you know, it's no longer required, so we're not gonna do it. So we've been talking about what that looks like. You know, it's not a requirement, but also I would think it would be best practice for us to keep that same level of focus and attention and support in place. We're not just gonna like, all right, you're in 4th grade now, sorry, you know, you don't have as much intervention time, or so that's kind of something that we've talked about too, is how do we close that a little bit.
thing. All right, next up, our committee reports. Charter School Committee meeting on April 28th and one on May 5th. And our charter school person's not here.
It went well.
Yeah, I mean, things are progressing. Yeah, we're working through the contract, we're going through it bit by bit, and that's all I've got. All right, next up is new business. All right, we have a couple of action items here. I would entertain a motion to recommend to approve First Agency Gallagher base accident insurance coverage in the amount of $3,459 for the 2026-2027 school year as an option for families.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mike, seconded by Chrissy. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no?
Any discussion?
Yeah, any discussion? Do you
We
have-
have a lot of people who take this, I was just curious
No.
on numbers,
Mm-mm.
but it needs to have, we need to have it.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
We always offered it. And actually, the rates stayed the same this year. I was surprised to see this.
Sorry about that. It's back on track. Backtracking. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Motion carries. All right, entertain a motion to recommend to approve our WIAA 2026-2027 membership.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Lonnie, seconded by Chris. Discussion.
Does this cover ABA as well then?
Yes.
Okay.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Motion carries. All right, I entertain a motion to recommend to approve our open enrollment applications for the 2026-2027 school year.
So moved.
Second. Chrissy?
Yeah, you guys are out of order now. All right, moved by Chrissy, seconded by Chris, to approve the open enrollment applications. All those in favor say aye.
Aye. I thought I used it.
Oh.
Sorry. Justin gave us the number.
Yeah, I knew this one, this one I knew there was no discussion on. Next one, I don't know. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Motion carries. All right, I entertain a motion to approve our 2026-2027 CISA 7 contract in the amount of $174,811.16 for special education itinerant services and learning services.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Lonnie, seconded by Chris. Discussion? Discussion? She's looking through.
No,
it.
no,
Give
I
her a
don't
minute.
have any, no.
Are you sure? 'Cause I see you scrolling through, and it'll take a
I'm
minute.
just re-reviewing.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Motion carries. All right, I entertain a motion to approve our 2026-2027 CISA 8 contract in the amount of $25,332.52.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mike, seconded by Chris. Any discussion?
I'm just assuming CISA 7 doesn't offer this.
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay.
This is for our deaf and hard of hearing services, as a, for our teacher, which CISA 7 does not have us as itinerant services.
Okay, thank you.
Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Motion carries. All right, I would entertain a motion to approve the revised 2026-2027 school calendar to reflect a dismissal time of 3:05 p.m. at the elementary school.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Chrissy, seconded by Lonnie. Discussion.
What do we have it before? Isn't that what we had? No?
The calendar says 2:55 for this year.
Yeah, it says 2:55 technically. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I thought we moved it already, but we talked about it. Maybe we didn't have it in there.
So this comes down to a transportation matter, actually, really, it's the busing. So ideally, we'd love to add the minutes to our middle school and high school because their requirement for the instructional minutes is longer than elementary. However, that would require buses to go from here down to elementary and then come back up to here. So right now, this really isn't impacting anything that the elementary school is doing. They're currently doing this all right now. We want to just, let's reflect the actual minutes that their kids are in school actually, so that's why we're changing it to 3:05.
And I just made a note to Jesse earlier, please make sure the handbook gets updated, because the handbook says to.
No, they're not gonna do it, make sure you read it.
Anything else, Katie, that I missed, or?
No, I don't think so.
No.
Yeah, the buses arrive typically around between like 3:08 and 3:10 as it is. And so we've just kind of been trying different things, hanging on to the students, but that's a really long, like 10 minutes for the kids. So it was actually the PTS meat sale day where we held the kids until 3:10 and everyone was like, that was perfect. I'm like, okay, this is good. This will be a good change. So yeah.
We have a motion on the floor. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Motion carries. All right, I'd entertain a motion to approve the purchase of smart boards from Balloom USA Inc. for the amount of $65,672.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Christie, seconded by Mike. Any discussion? Is this,
Oh, go ahead.
Are these all replacements? Or all getting replaced?
25 is on the elementary school, I believe.
Correct, are these all of them?
I believe. Do you know what, if it's all?
I feel like there's one or two new ones compared to what it was before.
Getting replaced?
No, everything's being replaced, and then there's one or two additional,
Okay.
so.
I had Jesse Durst type up some notes because he couldn't be here because of track tonight, but here's what he told me. We are increasingly experiencing hardware and performance issues, including screen flickering, touch functionality problems, and connectivity concerns. Most panels reach end of life in 2023 and 2025, meaning there will be no further updates, which can create security and functionality issues. Smart boards were selected because they provide a lower overall cost compared to Promethean panels, and teachers identified annotation and ease of writing or marking up as the highest instructional priority, and the smart boards perform better in this area than Promethean did. Some existing Promethean panels will be repurposed for math and science classrooms at the high school to maximize remaining value. And then standardizing on a single model will improve technical support, simplify training, and enhance collaboration among teachers.
Do we know the lead time on when we would get these 25, and who is installing? Is there a maintenance crew or summer people?
No, I believe.
The IT guys will be doing install over the summer. That's why he wanted to get it through today,
I
so
didn't
that he
know-
can get it ordered in time to do it over
yeah,
the summer.
Didn't want a 16-week lead time,
Yeah.
we're not gonna get these out till Christmas
Well,
break or something.
Hopefully not. It's
25.
technology, so.
Okay.
I mean, some districts are ordering hundreds and hundreds of these, so we should be okay with 25, I think.
And what is the, I guess, life expectancy in something like this? Are we talking another 5 years when we go through these again?
Typically, your IT stuff is 3 to 5.
Say we can stretch it up to hopefully 5.
Chocolate? Or is it?
Yeah.
Chalkboard lasted for 40 years.
Yeah.
probably no longer than that.
These, do we have a service and warranty on
Yeah,
these?
they don't know. I can ask Jesse.
Mike, what's your thought on it?
I think it's fine. I mean, yeah, your whiteboards and chalkboards are a lot cheaper, but you pay for it too, and
Oh, yeah,
the interactivity.
but I mean, they're using them all
They're
day
using them
long.
all day. Yeah. And replacing them, like Jesse said, you know, if we continue to use antiquated technology that is no longer getting updates, we run the risk of, you know, being infiltrated by hackers or whatever, and it's just not worth the risk. Not for, what is it, $2,500 a piece when we do get something that's gonna be out for a lot more than that. So,
All right, we have a motion on the floor to approve the purchase of the smart boards. All those in favor say aye.
I-
All those opposed, no. to me or Jesse. And the dates for our future meetings, Charter School Committee meeting at 5 p.m. on Thursday, May 21st in the District Office Conference Room. The Charter School Committee meeting at 5 p.m. on Tuesday, June 2nd in the boardroom. And June's regular board meeting at 6 p.m. on Monday, June 22nd in the boardroom at the middle and high school. ABA showcase, as well as graduation are also up there. All right, I entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Chrissy, second by Chris. Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no.